Welcome back to our podcast series here on Tyson's Tennis Tips. And today, the three of us are going to be discussing the champion from the US Open 3 weeks ago, Emma Raducanu. Niels, coming to you first today. We mentioned her in our last podcast following the US Open review of that fantastic tournament in New York. What have you made of the last 3 weeks since Emma Raducanu has won the US Open? How do you feel like she's conducted herself off the court?
I think she's conducted herself admirably. I mean, she's done loads of interviews. She's done all the talk shows. She's done everything you're supposed to do when you become a great champion. Whether you're an actor, a singer, or an athlete, a professional athlete at that level, everybody wants you. Everybody wants to talk to you, you know. And I think she seems very modest. She's been brought up by, obviously, her mum is Chinese and her father is Romanian, which means she comes from very modest beginning. So she knows what it takes to work hard. She knows to keep her eye on the ball, because that is, at the end of the day, her job is to be a professional tennis player. She's been very busy in terms of, as well, she has sacked her coach, Andrew Richardson, who brought her that unbelievable US Open title. So now her father said in an interview that they were looking for a WTA experienced coach, which makes sense because now she's in the league, you know, she's in the big boys league now. She's going to have to fight all the top 20 players. Everybody's looking at her. Everybody wants to beat her. So she's really going to have to turn it up and show us what she's capable of, not just in one tournament, but, you know, in the next, I'd say the next 10, 12 years, because that is going to be her career, and we'll see what she can do. And if she's not just a one-trick pony, so to speak. So I guess we'll have to see.
Absolutely. And Jai, I mean, say off the court, you know, she's been impeccable, hasn't she? She just speaks so well. She seems to have conducted herself brilliantly, as Niels was saying. What are your thoughts on Emma and how she's sort of reacted and been since such a huge result at the US Open?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of weight on her shoulders at the moment, and I think the way that she's gone about her business off court has been a real testimony to how mature she is, really. I mean, let's not forget she's only like 18 years old, and that's not something that you usually find yourself in at 18 years old, doing these interviews and playing tennis with the royal family and things like that.
Yeah, we saw that. Amazing.
Yeah, a lot of things going on for her at the moment, but hopefully in the next week, when she starts at the next tournament, she can just focus back on her tennis and just put aside all the excitement of the last couple of weeks behind her, and then focus back on her tennis, because that's what we're all expecting to see soon.
I mean, talking of the next tournament coming up, the Paribo Open in California, she's the 17th seed in that tournament. She's got a bye to the second round following the US Open win. I mean, Niels, how do you see her performing in that tournament? This is going to be the everyone's been waiting for this. The reaction, the on court following her big win. How do you think she'll perform in California?
I don't know. I mean, Paribo Open is a massive tournament. It's one of the biggest tournaments on tour. It's everybody watches that, whether you're a tennis fan or not, you know. And I think all the greats are going to play. All the top 20 are going to be in there. So it's going to be very difficult for her. This is where we're going to see what she's really made of. And if that US Open Championship was really, you know, now we know what to expect of her. Personally, I could see her going to the quarters or semis, because in a lot of people, she's beaten a lot of the top players in that US Open Championship, and I think that will still be quite a sore memory in a lot of these, in a lot of their minds. So I think she's got the upper hand in a way. Obviously, she's coming off that win, so she must be absolutely excited, and she's at the beginning of her career, which means she's probably full of energy and ready and just wants to win, is hungry to win. So I don't see any problem in her almost going to the semis or even winning it. You never know. I mean, you know, it's going to depend on her, what she's done, what her mindset is like, how she trains, if she gets back to training properly, if she forgets all the outside stuff, because at the end of the day, the outside stuff is not that important. What is important for her is to actually focus, because that is her job, just like anybody else. She has to work every day and get better and evolve and try and beat the best players in the world, because that's what she has to do. If she doesn't, we have a problem. So hopefully she'll do well.
We keep our fingers crossed. Jai, motivation is going to be a big factor for Raducanu. How do you see her performing in California at the Paribo Open?
Well, I think she's still very hot off her win, at the US Open. She's only been off for a couple of weeks or so. So I think she's definitely going to have a lot of confidence on our side. But I think at the same time, there's going to be quite a lot of pressure. I mean, the players have had a few weeks now to really sort of dive into what her game is like and try and think about game plans if they come across playing her. So I think in terms of the other side of the draw, I think they've got a bit of an advantage. They can see what she's playing like now. So I think there's going to be a bit of added pressure actually going into this tournament. I think it's going to be difficult, but I think I definitely see her getting through at least a few rounds, definitely at the BNP Paribas Open.
So moving on, I mean, you can see the top I'm wearing today with the new LTA Youth logo. If I just go up a little bit here, you can see at the bottom of the screen. We talk about her legacy to inspire the young generation. We're all tennis coaches here. Have you seen a difference on court in terms of the number of young female tennis players getting inspired by Raducanu? Niels, have you seen a difference in the last few weeks?
Well, I would just say in terms of what the LTA are doing to promote her, I think is extraordinary, because when you go on the LTA page now, the first thing you see is, would you like to become like Emma Raducanu? So I think they've got a good, she's very marketable. So obviously the LTA are doing everything in their power to make sure they get more young girls starting to play tennis, because you never know, you might get that 1 in a million girl again, and you might have that another dream story. So I think they're doing the right things to make sure that, you get loads of people playing and stuff like that. Just like when Annie Murray won Wimbledon and all that. So I think it's in the cards, for loads of little girls to go, you know what, I want to be like that one day. I'm going to train hard and see what I can do.
Absolutely.
Personally, I work as a tennis coach in an academy, so to speak. And we have got quite a lot of girls from the ages of like 9, 10 to the age of 14 who train every single day really hard, just put their head down and just make sure they work every day really hard, no matter what the conditions are. So I would say there is a little difference, and people are just more motivated because they can see what happens if you do your work, keep your head down and just focus on what you love.
And Jaya, for you, have you seen a big increase in participation in the last few weeks? We've had some fantastic weather here in Norfolk. Have you seen a difference in the number of players on court?
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. I mean, she's a great role model for so many young girls, so many young kids in general, really. So I think definitely at a national level, up and down the country, big increase. And then obviously at a county level, there's going to be little increases here and there. So I think it's those little increases throughout the country making it such a big impact that she's having on tennis. And yeah, I think it's going to be the start of a lot of journeys for these young kids, on their tennis journey, really.
And I heard again another article that I read recently regarding the LTA and the investment going into Parks tennis. I mean, Jaya, we can give Eaton Park a shout out, Norwich Parks tennis, for how amazing the facilities are there. But Parks tennis does seem to be the way the LTA are going. And I say, with that investment coming in, it's the amount of people, obviously especially through the spring and the summer and the early autumn that are in parks across the country. I just see that as being a fantastic way of getting more tennis players on court. So fingers crossed that I'm sure that investment will come through. We're already seeing it on the ground, and that'll be a fantastic way to get more people inspired into our fantastic sport. The last thing I wanted to touch on today on our podcast was Emma Raducanu's style of play. So Jai, coming to you first on this, what is it about her style of play that you think A, is so attractive, but B, has turned her into a Grand Slam champion?
I think the first thing that sticks out for me is her consistency. She's not one to make a lot of silly mistakes, but also not just a consistency, but a consistency around her all-round game. She can come to the net, she can finish points at the net. She's like a Djokovic on the baseline, a Federer at the net, if you want to put it that way. And she's just got that real sort of know-how around the whole game. And I think that's something you don't necessarily see every day on the women's side. And she's one of those players who possesses it. And the scary thing is she's so young still. So who knows in a few years' time what her game will be looking like. It's only going to keep evolving. So hopefully she can find a new coach to continue that journey with. And
Niels, Emma Raducanu's style of play, what is it in your eyes that makes her such an impressive player?
I think when we had Serena Williams on the tour, everybody was so afraid that you need to hit the ball hard and you need to be able to do that to win Grand Slams. But Raducanu's shown that you don't actually have to hit the ball that hard to win matches and to win Grand Slams. She just shows that you have to be consistent, as Jai said very well, perfectly. Couldn't have put it better myself. She's literally the Djokovic of the women's tour. She doesn't miss. That is the one thing she does so well. Everything is deep. Everything is just so much margin for error. Good spin, you know. It's just so difficult to play her because she is so good on her feet as well. Her footwork is just extraordinary. It's just unbelievable. She's got a lovely wide out serve. She couldn't do anything on that serve. As again, she's got a lovely touch on the volley. We've seen that at the US Open. She made the highlight reel more than once, as we can say. So, yeah, as Chai said again, she's just an all-round player, and that is not easy to play because that means you don't have any weaknesses, and she's got strengths as well. So you can't really hurt her. So in that way, I think she's obviously got a fabulous journey ahead of her, and we wish her obviously all the best.
We do, and I mean the three of us wish her all the best. But the Paribo Open coming up in California, how will she get on? We are intrigued to see and to watch Emma Raducanu in the weeks and months and years to come. And as I say, this is the moment for so many young female tennis players in particular to get inspired and to get active and to get on court. Well, we'll leave it there for today, guys. Thanks as always for being on the podcast. For those of you watching at home, we have got many more podcasts and brilliant podcasts still to bring you. So keep up to date, keep tuned to our channel here on Tyson's Tennis Tips. As always, hit that subscribe button. You'll see that coming up on the screen very soon. We've got links to previous videos below. But for now, we'll call it there. Thanks as always, Jaya and Niels, for having you guys on. The three of us will be back soon. We'll see you soon.